All right, so I think programming is important to learn, and I believe it will become like English or mathematics where everyone just knows it or you're kind of expected to know it. In fact, most people that I talk to that go to university and study things like kind of like business subjects or any kind of office subjects, they're all expected to learn some kind of programming, whether it's like XML, HTML, Python, something like that. I think it's important because it teaches you logic and mathematics. Mathematics, in a way, it's very much related to logic. It teaches you logic, which is that essentially how to kind of systematize things and be like, if there is one person in a room, how many people are in a room? There's one person. If there is one person in a room and then in 10 minutes another person walked into the room, how many people are there in 20 minutes? Assumingly there are two people. Of course, reality is not entirely logical, it is half logical, because who knows, maybe someone could have left that room. Maybe you're hallucinating the whole thing and there are no people in the room, so there really isn't anyone in the room. So it kind of works that way. But yeah, really, it's kind of like, why do you study art, or why is it a good thing to practice art, to practice drawing? Of course, it's because then you can make visuals. You can literally design out any object or anything you want, which is pretty cool. It's a good skill. It develops that like right side of your brain, so to speak, the creative side through art. Programming is pretty much the opposite. It develops the logical side, the left side. So if you find you are lacking in that like scientific, or more, not really, science is kind of an art if we really want to get into it, with alchemy and all that, but more modern science, all the data crunching. I mean, if you're lacking like that mathematical, like you try to read an electronics book and you're like, what the fuck does any of this mean? You just don't have the brain power to understand it. Learn programming, and it can definitely develop that side of your brain. Just a quick note on the process. I have found the process of learning programming, and I'm still a beginner. I'm really not that great, but the process I found is, firstly, you have to learn what exactly is programming, which is basically just numbers and data and logic. Things like a computer handling mathematics. 2 + 2 = 4. Or division or whatever, and then you make loops, a logical loop. Every X amount of times, or let's say 5 times, for 5 cycles of a loop, you add 2 to X. X is 0, X is 2, X is 4, X is 6, 8, 10, etc. X now equals 10. It's logical loops. If X equals 10, then Y equals 12. If Y equals 12, then this or that. So you're learning like, what the hell is programming? Not even like a language, where you learn a language, but you want to take the major concepts, because if you can take the major concepts, you can learn any programming language. It really doesn't matter. Well, some of them are a bit too weighty, so you want to kind of switch to stay to what is simple enough for you and works for your purpose. So then number 2 is you want to learn a language, which is learning how the syntax works. For C, for example, C's got a heavier syntax than Python. So you do this through just practicing the simple little things. Scanf, printf. Scanf takes in an input. You take in an input, you save it to a memory location, and then you print it back out. C requires a little more than that. Python, I believe it's just like you just create a variable or print it, or I don't remember what their scan or input thing is, but yeah, it's pretty simple. You learn the syntax, which is just like learning the language. It's like English is a language, but English is referring to a couch can be in multiple different languages, but ultimately it's still a couch. It may look a little different in the Arabic countries or the Asian countries or the African countries or whatever, but maybe if we all buy our couches from, I don't know, eBay or Amazon or IKEA or something, they all look the same. That's basic programming. Basic programming is just a couch. Learning the language is learning the word for the couch. Number 3, there's a good website called Code Chef. I like it more than Leet Code, which is another one, just because I don't know, I think it's easier. But Code Chef, Look that up, like chef, like a cooking chef. Really good website. Practice the easy problems. That's what I'm finding, is that you just grind out problems. It's like Duolingo learning language. You grind out those easy problems. You get to the harder problems and you learn programming through that. You start to develop your logical side, your mathematics. You learn how to structure data in different ways. A house is a structure of data. It's like, where are the different rooms? The rooms are just data. Then you build it, blocks. You're structuring blocks in a pattern. You're just structuring physical data, so to speak. Then number 4. So 1 is basic programming. 2 is learning a syntax or language. 3 is practicing basic problems. Number 4 is more learning your own to make your own programs. Essentially, you get an image handling thing like a Raylib or SDL or Vulkan or whatever, and to basically handle audio and images. Maybe you use like a GUI tool like a GTK or whatever, and then you start to make little applications. You press a button and then it displays a number or whatever, or display pictures, or you make a little video game, translate the video game, or make the picture go upwards, because then you're using the logic and the programming, the basic mathematics. You're taking it out of just the console and you're applying it to images, the sound, you're doing mathematics behind the scene. Like if someone attacks you, their attack point is that your defense negates their attack, and then whatever that is. So like your defense is 2, their attack is 7. It deals 5 damage points to you. Your HP is, let's say, 100. It then reduces your HP by 5. You're on 95 HP. If your HP gets to 0, it triggers the game over screen or the reload. Reloads you back to base, restores the HP, whatever. Maybe you drop an item, or whatever game design you're trying to work out. So that's kind of the logic behind the scenes, and it's displayed through the pictures and the sound. So you've got those 3 things: the programming, the pictures, and the sound, or 3D models. 3D models, which is really just not much of a step up from 2D. It's pretty simple. If you can understand 2D, you can understand 3D. More or less, it's the problem more is with animation and just working with models. And that's kind of where if you work with 3D games, you use more of a game engine like Godot or Unity or whatever. They're pretty good for 2D as well, to be completely honest. It does a lot of the work, but it's up to you. Anyway, that's all. Of course, check the links in the description if you're interested in social, or commercial. And of course, have a nice day.